Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Live Lama podcast. I'm Gunjan.
I'm Rajiv.
Rajiv, the other day I was just going in a loop and going blah blah about my sister. She went to Valley of Flowers and beautiful place, amazing trek, no roads. Still, she was able to manage that trek, and the weather was amazing. Everything was amazing. And the comment you made is somehow stuck in my head. You remember what you said, right?
Yeah. Proxy. Yeah, stop proxy living. Yes.
Exactly. Stop proxy living. I don't even know that's a word or a term. I only know about proxy server. I really don't know what proxy living is. And this is what we want to ponder on in today's podcast.
Yeah, this is a term I use myself to remind me that I have to live my own life. Yes. So let me think about it in a second, and I'll explain you what it means.
Yeah.
So, for example, like what you were saying, it was as if you have gone on the trek, not your sister, right? So what was coming out was that is as if through your sister's effort and everything, you are claiming that you have done it.
Effort is
Or, like if let's say, somebody, so there's a difference between being proud of your, siblings' achievement and all that, but then there's a subtle difference between that versus, being associating yourself with the same achievement without the effort and the hard work.
Okay. So there are two things that I want to touch upon. All of us are different, right? The kind of level she has achieved in her career, the liberty she has to take holidays and all, I do not have it. And if anybody in life can achieve it, I'll be happy about that person.
Yeah, that's fine. Being happy is different, but then the way the question, the comment I made was based on how you were expressing the trek, the experience, as if it was you who had done it.
I get that. Again, as I said, I do not have liberty of those holidays because of the personal commitment that I have. And the kind of effort that is required, like all the bookings and shopping and everything, हमसे ना हो पाएगा. जिसने कर लिया, I'm happy for that person. And it's like, okay, yes, you did it, I did it, I've seen the photographs and all. And you know how much role social media plays in proxy living. Like people are posting, and then it can be a good thing that something will click someday that, oh, I should do this. I should try that. Yes. Right. So yes, how is it?
So, it's a similar thing like, I will draw a parallel, which I don't know whether it is, 100% accurate or not, but still I will draw it. That it is similar to armchair activism.
Okay.
Another term.
Yes, please. You can see my expression.
So armchair activism is that, you are debating and discussing and everything about some social evil or something. You want to bring a change, but the only thing you're doing is you're debating and discussing, sitting in an armchair, not actually getting your ass on the ground and bringing the change, right? So that is, philosophically, or I would say similar to what I call as proxy living, that, for example, Indians, taking pride in, Sundar Pichai or Nadella or Kamala Harris and all that becoming what they have become.
Right.
But then simply saying, oh, I am equally smart and I can do the same, but not making the effort to become them.
Right. And
right?
this
Or in another parallel I can draw is like, parents living their dreams and life through their children, rather. So instead of saying, hey, I will do this, I will make the effort to, let's say, learn piano.
Right.
And, if there are reasons, like you said, that if you don't have time, then don't push your children. Yes, you prepare them for the future, but stop living your dreams through them. That's what I call as proxy living.
So here is a little agreement to you, and this is what I say. When we are not able to achieve or do anything in life, and I've been a day scholar all my life, and when I see boarders, the kind of exposure they get was phenomenal. And I thought that, my son, he'll go to a boarding school and he'll get everything that is required. And what's bad in that? Like,
no, it is not bad.
Whatever I could not achieve or could not get, or the exposure that I could not get, I want to give that exposure to my kid. And
that's
this
fine.
achievement is kind of like, you feel pride in that. You take quite pride in that.
Yes. I am not talking about, the pride that you should feel. So that's why I'm saying it's a very subtle difference between being proud of something or somebody's achievement versus proxy living. So, and that's something each of us will have to decide, like we, for example, every parent would want to give the best of the best to their child because the future will be different for them than it was for us, right? Now, the question is, where do you draw that line? That are you facilitating the growth and you're preparing your children for growth versus your proxy living? So that's, you have to take the call. I know. So I use this term always to remind myself when I'm pushing my children or somebody else, hey, why don't you do this? Hey, why don't you do that? So the question I ask myself is, is it something that is really required? For example, is learning piano at the age of 4 is required for the children to grow versus is it simply a proxy living that, I want to, I have a piano at home. I've had piano for the last 20 years. I can't lift a finger. I would push my daughter to, hey, why don't you learn piano? Because it's not that, yes, she wanted to learn guitar. And then one fine day, my wife kept, telling me that, you are behaving like you can just look at the piano and, it'll come to you and you will start, playing it, like you can download the software. So that's what I'm clarifying, that there's a very subtle difference between proxy living versus being proud of achievement of your loved ones or your nation or humanity or whatever.
Right. And I want to bring the topic of Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella and Kamala Harris. I was in the small town Peoria and we were talking about green energy, clean energy. And there's this very powerful lady, Sunita Narayan, who's the founder of CSE. She was the one who gave the sample that all these aerated drinks, they have a very high level of pesticides in them. And so because of that, she was famous. However, her forte is in green energy. So the entire office of CSE run on solar panels. She was the one who actually made CNG possible in Delhi. And I was just going about Sunita Narayan and this and that and all. And then someone from the parents group said that, you know what, Gunjan knows someone who works with solar panel. And I was like, no. She doesn't know me. I know her.
I know. See, that's I think a good example of proxy living. That the other person who is listening to you, feels that as if you have done it or you have achieved it, but you are just bragging here.
Yeah, and we have worked so closely that I know almost.
Yeah, you're like chuddy buddies. Yeah,
it's just that I used to follow her very closely that time. I really don't know what's going on now, but that time I used to follow her very closely. So I knew almost everything. I've seen her, all her interviews, read all her blogs, whatever article would come, I would read that. And I was so engrossed in that. And the way I was singing her praises, everyone thought that, we are like buddies forever.
Exactly.
And then yes, someone said, oh, yes, I also know president of the country, but it's just that president doesn't know me.
So see, the reason I brought that up at that time, I remember, and your reaction was similar, that, hey, I don't have time to do all this, to go, I don't have vacation or money or whatever, a lot of number of excuses
Yeah,
for not
excuses,
doing
excuses.
something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's where the fine difference is, the fine line is, that when you say proxy living, that means, what are you going to do it,
Yeah,
to do something.
yeah.
So
Well,
for me, it is always important that, I look at these things, that they should be inspiring, that you should be inspired to do the same thing. If, let's say, your sister has gone to a trek and all that, it should inspire you to do the same thing. If not now, whenever.
maybe not trekking, but at least take a vacation for yourself and go on a solo trip and do that. So
Yeah. Try it out.
yeah, it is inspiring. But yes, if I look at my calendar and if I look at my schedule of PTMs and yeah, I know excuses.
We talked about procrastination also, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
this is another form of procrastination, that
yes,
you are
absolutely.
proxy living and you are procrastinating on things you should be experiencing and you should be doing, and you are just hiding behind the mask of, oh, my sister has done it, so I've done it too.
Yes,
As
yes.
if it will be automatically transferred, the experience will be automatically transferred to you.
Right. Shifting gears a little bit, Rajiv, when we were the way you were saying that piano learning and all, and I also said, okay, I have to acquire this new skill and I'll do this. Downloaded the course, everything, notebooks, pencil, everything was ready. And every time my son and three of us decided that, we'll decide and we'll pick up something new. We'll decide a skill set, and all three of us will work on it. And the theme that we say is that we lie more to ourselves than to anybody else. And my son asked that, okay, so Mama, how's your planning and studies and everything going? And I was like, yeah, so I was supposed to go here. Yes, I was supposed to do this, and this thing came and all. I did not answer the question
Yes.
because I was not doing anything for it. And,
You're just
from
talking about it.
I was just trying to deviate him. And he said that, okay, Mama, that was not my question. My question was that, where are you with your course right now? I said, I'm at chapter 0.
Still
So
there. Where I was.
where I think I've gone 2 steps behind because I really don't know where I kept that course and I really don't know where my stuff is and how to get myself back on track. But yes, if someone has done something, if I think that I have to add on to this course, then I should have done it. And the way, I don't know whom I was fooling him or I was fooling myself, but he's the kid who'll put you back on track. That no,
Yeah, kids always do.
yeah,
I think,
that's not my
till a
question.
certain age, kids are more truthful than the adults.
Right. And then I asked, so how is it going for you? Yeah, same thing as yours. It's my bad genes. I start something and then something happens. So he
That's
put
what I'm
everything
saying.
on his genes.
Exactly, bad genes. Yep.
Exactly, that's my bad genes. So I was like, okay,
Yep.
good going. So yeah, if you have that liberty of asking the question first, then ball is in your court and you can take the conversation in any direction.
Yeah, so I think the same, the way I would recommend that we approach, this thing is that, and it has, like, I'm sure it's every listener, everybody has the same challenges, and everything, is doing at least some proxy living, if not 90% of your life. And we do that, and it's not a judgmental statement. It is more a statement similar to what we say in other episodes, that this is simply, to surface the reality. And now you can say, okay, this is fine. I don't have time and I'm happy for the achievement. But then when you are stating and you're, just like you were talking about that green energy and all that, when you're talking about that achievement of somebody, then you will talk about it as somebody else's achievement or effort or something, and not your own. So you will choose your words more carefully. You would be very clear in your head that, hey, I want to do this. It's like just recently, one of our friends, she is going on skydiving, on her 60th birthday.
Oh,
So her children, they are gifting her a skydiving trip. So I for all of my life, I have been trying to do that. I was at one time, actually, I was literally going to walk in, but at that time, my wife said, no, you're not doing all these things, stupid things. So for multiple reasons, I kept postponing. Although one of my cousin went, did skydiving. But this time around, I mentioned the same thing to, the friend, and she said, okay, why don't you also come? I said, no, I'm past that.
Yes.
So the thing is that, the question is that was I not actively really wanting to do it? Or was it simply that I was like, quote unquote, proxy living, that, okay, I've seen so many people doing it, I want to do it, but I really don't want to do it. And that's the question that you have to ponder on. And then you say, okay, I may be that in heart of hearts, I really didn't want to do it, but I was always, enchanted by it.
So, Rajiv, here's the difference between an author and person who's not an author. My sister has done it. She has experienced it. She has shared her experience with me. Compared to a friend of yours is doing it and you wanted to do it, you are an author. You will have a very different experience and maybe another motivation to write another chapter of a book. Who knows? Who knows? So yes, it also depends like on that personal experience. Do I really want to go through all that pain? Maybe answer is no or yes, I don't know. But yes, I mean, there are certain things that we do just for the sake of experience. Sometimes, even those train rides are just for experience because it's a beautiful journey, beautiful stretch, and where it is not about the destination, but all about the journey.
That is true. That is true. So that is why we say, don't do proxy living.
Right. Experience it yourself.
Experience it, and or be clear in your mind. See, it is not about whether you have to experience everything in life. That's the other fallacy that I think, we have, that whatever we are enchanted with or we like, that we have to personally experience everything in life. No, that is not true. You should experience what you want to experience, and you should do proxy living wherever it's fine. For example, I used to like all the these, rides in all these theme parks, all the roller coasters and all, at one time. Then I grew out of it. Now I don't see any thrill in going on that crazy ride. I can still do some, but I others I refuse. I say, no, that's fine.
No, I know for sure my heart will collapse. I'm like, no, sorry, thank you.
So that's fine. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that in those cases you can say, yeah, I cannot do it, but I see people enjoying it, and I really, think that's a very good.
I have never seen anyone enjoying it. I've always seen people screaming and shouting about it. So,
but people enjoy screaming. That is why they also watch horror movies. Why do you think people watch horror movies? What exactly? Because they like screaming and they like getting scared.
That's a different thrill altogether. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a different thrill altogether. But yes, I have a very weak heart, and I don't think so I can take roller coaster or skydiving or any that sort of a thing. I'm a very peaceful person. Yes.
Yeah. You mean to say that everybody who goes on a roller coaster ride is a violent person?
No, I'm not trying to say that. All I'm saying that they have a strong heart, which I do not have. So yeah. And when I see people's reaction, I was like, for sure, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, but people enjoy that.
People enjoy that. Rajiv, we did ponder upon siblings. I want to go a little further. Husband and wife. And as per Hindu mythology, whatever wife does, like prayers or fasting or donation, anything, half of it goes to the husband. However,
the benefit, the half of the
things that I've earned goes to the good deeds and everything that I've earned goes to the husband. However, it doesn't imply the other way. Why so much of disparity?
This is exactly, I think this is the best example of proxy living. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm trying to say, that you getting or you assuming the benefit of somebody else's labor or effort and everything is what I think you have helped me put the definition very accurately.
In a very profound
So
manner.
exactly, this is exactly I've been struggling with the word that, how do I describe it? This is exactly how I would describe
Right.
that, you are claiming the benefit of somebody else's effort and hard work or anything. Why cannot the husbands do the same thing and say, okay, you get your benefit, I get mine.
Yes. Yes. And is it again related to the mindset that we grow with, that find happiness?
Yeah. These are social things. Patriarchy, worldwide we are in patriarchy societies, mostly 99%.
Right.
So it's bound to be there. Now, but I think the important question is that we should also discuss is, apart from this fasting and all that, not everybody follows those rituals and this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what about situations where husband or wife keep probing each other, do this, do that?
Right.
Husband says, "Oh, why don't you start, a business, or why don't you learn this thing?" I would say, that's proxy living. Let the woman decide what they want to do with their time and their life, and you decide about what you want to do with your life and with your time. If you are so interested in, let's say, anything, any skill, get off your butt and stop watching Netflix and go do it.
Rajiv, that guidance is required, that push is required. The way we are raised, right? The way we are raised, like every time, we never had that unstructured time. Back from school, you take a nap, you study, and then you play. We never had that unstructured time where we can, and everything was like, okay, this is what we have to do. So that push is required. And what's a harm in making other person realize that, you can do so much better, you can do lot many things, and that push is coming and that help is coming. What's the problem with the having that?
You're saying why?
And both of them are working towards growth of each other. I know there are people who flaunt about their wife's education or husband's education, like my husband's from Harvard or IIT, IIMs, or whatever it is. They flaunt about it, and there is a, like, not a minuscule effort from their end. Like, it's the hard work of their parents that the kid went to IIT or IIMs or Harvard or MIT, whatever it is. And when spouses take that, that
Claim the
right, where they have zero
yeah, they see, let's go back to what you're saying, that what is the harm in pushing or probing, right? So that
Right.
is that proxy living the way I'm saying it. So there is no harm. The harm is when it becomes more like an accusation or demeaning,
Yes.
that why are you not doing this?
Right.
Oh, you can do that. Or if somebody's trying, oh, this is not good enough, right? So that's why I'm saying that there's a very thin line, or very, very thin line between, all these things we talk about, the truth and the lie. That, for me, proxy living is that, yes, you encourage. There's a difference between being encouraging versus pushing. Encouraging means that you facilitate, you help, you push the person enough to overcome the initial hesitation, but then you have to let the other person decide.
There's one more point I would like to add, that taking small piece of responsibility, that, okay, this piece I'll take care of. You'll get that free time of yours, and maybe you can start with this free time, and then later as you'll progress, we'll see what can be done and how many responsibilities will be shifted to the other person. But yes, taking tiny steps by not just encouraging or probing or pushing, but yes, taking actions as well, that okay, this is what I feel you should do, and I see you already have enough on your plate. Let me take some responsibilities. That's where you're showing support.
Yes.
that's where
Yeah.
you're showing actual support. And this is
Yes.
something that I would like, that growth has to be continuous. And gone are the days that you did good in middle school, high school, college, and then you are reaping fruits. Gone are those days. We have to upskill and
Even earlier, there were no days like that. Even earlier, even that is what we assume. This is where I think there's another, maybe we can discuss on this in a separate episode, because I think this is very important to understand that life is a continuous journey. The day you die, the day you stop making an effort to live better. As simple as that. Whether it is at work, whether relationship, whether it is your personal health, whatever. Today you stop making effort for anything, you start dying right there and then. Your career will start dying the moment you stop making effort to grow and learn and become better and better. Now that doesn't mean, it's like a very interesting statement I read somewhere that um, I died 30 years ago, but I was just buried yesterday. Or many people die, 70 years before they are buried.
Right.
Very, very interesting. That gave me a very different perspective. And I exactly, things that we are talking about, that, when do we live for ourselves versus when we live through others?
Right. And again, experiencing these things are also okay. We know that this is something I can do, and this is something that surely I cannot do. And social
And
media,
that's okay.
yeah, that is okay, which is absolutely fine. We all have our own journey, and we all have our own destination. So again, as I say this repeatedly, come out of competition, comparison, judgment, that where I was, and like, and it is in rise as well, right, Rajiv, that you interviewed 3 people and they said that 5 years later they had a similar answer, but 5 years later all of them were at a different positions altogether. So start
See,
from
that I think that, yeah, if people would read that book, they
rise.
will get it. But that actually was a very, that was very interesting experience for me, because I'll tell another, experience that will relate to it. Is that these three, I was at Intel at that time, and I was given the charter to grow a particular competency. For people who are not in high tech, competency means that particular subject area,
Right.
like HR or supply chain or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And these three college grads were assigned to my team. At Intel we had a very clear thing how to simulate RCGs, recent college graduates. So in my one-on-one with three individuals, I asked them where they want to be in next 3 to 5 years, so that I can help them create their career path, and what kind of assignments that I can give them. And all three had a very similar this thing. All came back with a very similar this thing, that I want to be a manager and this and that, but towards separate different goals. Two or three, one of the three pivoted in the career after 3 to 5 years and made 10x more money than the other two. One totally dissipated. Like within 2 years, the person was like, no good. I literally had to fire the person. And the third one had a very conventional, career growth. In spite of the fact, the all three aspire to similar goals. And I remember a very similar experience. I was a chief guest at engineering college in oh man, I forgot. So, but I was like a chief guest, and we were talking about. I was in the, after the whatever the keynote speech and all that I gave, and then we were. I was with the professors. Coimbatore. I was in Coimbatore, so engineering college, and we were talking about it. And one of the professor made a statement that the college creates the best engineers. And so I said, we need to stop looking at the start line.
Right.
I want you guys to focus on how many CEOs have come out of your college, how many entrepreneurs have come out. So focus on where you want your children to go rather than where will they start from. So, I when I made the statement, I could see that it was very much unrattling for almost everybody in that staff got rattled that, what are you talking about? Our job is only to prepare them for the job. I said, but that's the problem.
You need to
You're
prepare them
preparing
for
them for
life.
slavery.
Yes.
Yes, you have to prepare them for contribution beyond themselves.
Well, that was quite a thought from our Rajiv Modest Nanda, and it was truly, truly inspiring. And Rajiv, in the interest of time, we have to wrap the show, and quite a show.
Yeah.
All I want to say is that each and every person has a unique journey, and embracing and authenticity, the way you said about the 3 interns that were under your wing. We need to embrace the authenticity, and that is the compass that will guide one person to their true self.
Yeah.
Closing lines from your side, Rajiv.
So I'll maybe share one of the couplet. I would say the similar sentiments, but not exactly the same. शुक्र है इस कागज और कलम को आदत ना हुई, मेरे चाहने वालों की तरह मेरी उपेक्षा और अवहेलना करने की. Avlena means ignore, ignore and criticism. वरना तो कमबख्त एक लेखक भी ना बन पाते हम.
That is really, really beautiful one, and a very, very thought-provoking. Thank you so much for listening. Do visit our website, thelielama.com, THELIELLAMA.com, and do tell us your lies. We'll be more than happy to host you. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you.